Welcome back. I'm going to take you in the trenches with some mega cap stocks that my community's been asking me to take a look at the fundamentals, because when everyone's saying you can't get any yield on your cash, or people are scared and they're having a flight to safety, but they're already invested in gold that has been doing well, and they want to go with some names, people are looking at some of the mega caps that don't act well. Okay, they haven't acted well. They've only traded in ranges, and you've had to buy them at the bottom of the ranges. So I feel a bit more comfortable talking about them at the bottom of the ranges because of the cash they have on hand without the debt and the potential dividend and yield that they can give you. And that only offsets if the equity goes lower. So at these lower prices, maybe you can get a little bang for the buck, over some time. So the first stock I'm going to look at that probably is my favorite is Intel. If you take a quick look at Intel, you will see that they did have a good report, and had a nice move higher. Here on a momentum level is where you had to get out technically. Now we've come all the way down to about 2011. So if you want to, take some cash and you have to put it to work, this, 20 level is the decent area to buy back Intel if you sold it correctly or if you wanted to get involved. I would only do a bit of a tier 1. If you go to the weekly, you will see that, this is a level here of about 1940. But you also have a pivot to watch down to 1775. So if you wanted to do 2 tiers, you have one and then another. Now I'm going to read. I never read to you guys, but I have to go over these stats because I don't look at them that often. Intel does, yield to 4%. They have a 21-cent dividend. They're only at a PE of 9, and they have reported 4.1 billion in cash and other, short-term investments. So they have cash. They have a PE below 10, and you get a dividend. And it's Intel. Next stock I want to talk about, which has acted horrendous, and people have been talking about it as a value play, and it's funny. That's not funny, but as stocks get cheaper, they become more and more of a value play, and that's Cisco. But Cisco, you have to take a little bit of, it's coming out with earnings Wednesday after the close, so you have to be careful. This stock has been nothing but a disaster. Okay, technically you have a high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and now we're coming into, a major area into this, what is this 1360 area. So I guess if you're not long Cisco and you need to park some money, this one is decent to the fact that it also doesn't have as big of a dividend as Intel, but it also and has a P of 11, which isn't as great. But they have 6.6 billion in cash and over 36 billion in investments. So they don't have the debt. The chart doesn't look great. Actually, looking at the two of them together, I like Intel a little bit over Cisco because it's acting better. But this is another one of the mega caps that, if you need to be a bit diversified and you feel okay in that name, if you have a long-term time horizon, this one's not bad. Microsoft I also want to take a look at. Microsoft, on a weekly chart, has been holding up much better than the other ones that I just showed you. It's coming into this 24 area, so hopefully this would hold on a technical basis. To me, I don't really like this pattern, but people are asking me to take a look at it, so I'm going to take a look at it. It just came from 2750. Okay, this was your technical get out at 27, coming into 2350. You could buy a little bit long. I got to show you the stats here. Microsoft right now is a AAA. It's got a dividend of what's your dividend here on Microsoft? Not so bad, of a 2.5 with a PE of only 9.1. So if you come to me, you will see that the stats on Microsoft and the chart actually looks better than Cisco also. So if you're looking for something with a yield, there you go. And lastly, people are saying Hewlett-Packard. I don't even think you take a look at Hewlett-Packard. Hewlett-Packard, is just not where I'd want to be. So if you look at those 4 names and you had to choose 2 of them, I guess it's like Microsoft and Intel because they're heavily in the PCs. Cisco's in the router area, so I would look more at Intel out of all of them versus, and if you had to do a few of them, Intel and Microsoft versus Cisco and Hewlett-Packard. But that's not my area expertise. I'm more of a technician.